2020 has been one of the worst years this planet has ever experienced. We're talking about a global pandemic.
Correct.
Yet there has been, for all of us, I think, one silver lining, one positive. We have been forced to stay at home, and we have gotten to spend more time with our families.
Yes.
So today, I am so thankful for my wife, Ernestine, and for our quote-unquote daughter, Hazel, our little 4-year-old Maltese. And I'm so thankful for you and for Jenny and our Fox family here at FS1. Azzy, our producer, all the good people we get to work with here. Bless you all. And I hate to admit this publicly because I hate to do this, but I actually love you.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
And thank you, all you guys that tuned in today.
Love
we thank you
on,
for that.
Wow, we're talking about love? This
look at him.
I'm thankful too. You guys making me emotional here.
Yeah.
Don't try to soften me up on Thanksgiving.
Boy, I like it. This is a great start to the day. I'm also thankful. I want to say to my parents, they're in Minnesota. My dad just had knee surgery. I know he's watching. He's a big fan of the show, guys, and I'm thankful for both of you. But with all that out of the way, we do have a lot to talk about because Thanksgiving means football, and we've got a great main course for you coming up later today with Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys hosting Washington at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Dallas is looking to avenge a 25-3 loss earlier this season, while Alex Smith hopes to continue his amazing comeback season with his first back-to-back win since 2018. So, Shannon, who wins?
I went back and forth with this one, Skip, and I know both teams won last week, but I thought Dallas looked more impressive in their win than the Washington football team looked in their win. But when you're dealing with teams like this, these are division rivals, and they go back, this rivalry goes back, what? It's, okay, 1960. So it goes back, it goes back 60 years.
I wanted to say it went back to the 1800s because it feels like it did. It does.
Yeah. I was thinking, I'm like, hold on, the Cowboys didn't exist in 33 when Washington, when obviously the football team that had another name existed. But Skip, so I'm throwing out records and what this means. What this means is that the winner of this ball game will be in first place in this horrible, horrible division. And no matter what you think, how horrible it is, somebody from this division is going to get a home playoff game. I took Washington, Skip, because I'm looking at them over the last month. They're 2-2. They're first in pass defense. They're second in sacks, third in scoring D, third on third down, 10th against the run. And what they did the last game to Andy Dalton, they got after him. They sacked him 6 times, allowed 3 yards per carry. And the Cowboys are going to run the football because the difference between this week and last week, Minnesota could not pressure Andy Dalton, and he got real comfortable. So not only was he comfortable, they couldn't stop the run. The one thing I know about Jack Del Rio, the defensive coordinator of Washington, is that he'll shut up the run, and they'll put all their money. Basically, when you look at their high draft picks, it's in the defensive line. Allen, Payne, Chase Young, Kerrigan, Sweat, all those guys were first-round draft picks. 1, Chase Young, number 2. The lowest draft pick was Sweat on the first line, and he went in the 26th pick in the draft.
Yep.
So I like Washington to choke off the run, put pressure on Andy Dalton. I'm going to make Andy Dalton beat me. Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard, you're not going to play a role in this ball game. And Skip, as good as the Cowboys' defense have been, they've given up 24 passing touchdowns with 3 interceptions. So in other words, they've turned every quarterback that they faced into Patrick Mahomes. That's what they've done. That's what the defense have done. That's what the numbers indicate. So I'm going to take the Washington in a very close ball game. I'm going to say they win 2016.
2016, says the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp. I hate to admit this. I disagree with nothing you just said, except for your conclusion. So allow me to frame today for you. In all my years, my 40-odd years of covering professional football, I have never, ever experienced anything like what is about to happen on, you can argue, the biggest stage this side the Super Bowl in this sport. Right. If my Cowboys win today against their arch rival, as you say, they're not only in first place, they're in the driver's seat to win a home playoff game, to win the right to play a home playoff game.
Right.
Because they would win this division and somebody has to win it. If they lose today, they will plunge into the cellar of the NFC least. And I saw this morning that the Football Power Index, if they lose, will give them only a 6% chance of winning the East. So think about it. It is going to be feast or famine, all in one afternoon on the Thanksgiving stage,
Well, Skip,
right?
if they win this game, they only got an 8% chance of making a play. That's how bad the division is, Skip.
Okay, I got it. But again, by strength of remaining schedule, Dallas is second easiest in the whole NFL. If they can beat Washington today, the team that beat them the worst of anybody they've played, the team that humiliated them, that ran them off the field at Washington exactly a month ago,
right,
October 25th, then they catapult from the doldrums, from me over here just in anguish, into a position of strength in the least, right?
Yes.
So today, for me, will expose or reveal who you are as a football team. Are you men or are you mice? Because this is a men or mice game. This is how strong is your backbone? How much do you care about winning the worst division by far, probably in the history of pro football?
Right.
Are you going to do what you did last Sunday at Minnesota, which was simply play the best game you played all year and win the most impressive game that anybody in the NFC East has won all year? That was the most impressive win to me. You could argue with that, but given that Minnesota had won 3 straight and it was at Minnesota, that was the most impressive. That showed you the capability of this team.
Well, considering, Skip, they've only beaten each other in the division, so nobody's really had an impressive win outside of the division.
Okay. So for me, I believe that you'll know from the first snap of this game. I believe Dallas will be ready to play this game. I think they will play a little harder than a team that I agree with you. On paper, I think Washington's a little better. I think you've seen the Cowboys coming for 3 weeks. They were actually in position to beat Philly at Philly, but they had Ben DiNucci, a rookie at quarterback, and God bless him, I'm going to knock on wood for him. That might have been the first and last game he ever starts in this league.
Maybe ever plays.
Well, that's what I'm saying, okay? Then 2 weeks back, against the undefeated Steelers in Jerry World, I saw, wait a second, that guy?
Garrett Gilbert.
Garrett Gilbert? I saw him be in position to close the deal against the Steelers. And I thought he played well enough to close the deal, but they couldn't overcome the second team on the field, the referees.
There you go.
Okay, but did they not play well enough to win the game?
They did, and I think that gave them confidence playing with a third or fourth string quarterback. Said, hold on, that team is undefeated, and we took them down to the wire. So I think that gave them confidence even though they lost.
Okay. So now Andy Dalton is back at quarterback. He is not Dak Prescott, but he's not bad. Again, for those who have missed this point, he has made 3 Pro Bowls. You can say in his distant past, but he has.
Yes.
He has played in 4 playoff games in his life. He has not won one of them, but you can't tell me this stage today is too big for Andy Dalton because he knows how this feels, right? And for those who missed the point, in his first 5 years in the league, he averaged winning 10 games a year. So he knows what it feels like to go to Minnesota and win a pretty big game, right? Now it's about arch rivalry. Now it's about revenge. You got annihilated at Washington because you did not show up. That was the height of a locker room mutiny against the new defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan. Maybe even a mutiny against the other Mike, who's the head coach, Mike McCarthy. After that game, it was so bad that Jerry Jones cut every free agent that he had signed in the offseason. There were 8 of them, and he cut every one. He got rid of them, or he dismissed them.
All of them were gone at this point.
They're all gone because he sided with the new coordinator. He wanted either younger or cornerstone players who were buying into what Mike Nolan was trying to sell to stay. And right on schedule, they started to buy in. So the defense has solidified around the return of Leighton Vander Esch from a broken collarbone in game 1 at Rams. Once he's come back, he can stuff the run.
Yes.
He will plug the hole. He will go helmet to helmet with anybody who comes into the hole. So all of a sudden around him, it started to gel. And all of a sudden, something started happening at Minnesota. There was one key player, one crucial player who did not play at Washington 1 month ago. He missed one game all year, and it was that game. And as you point out, Andy Dalton got sacked 6 times. He got knocked out of the game on a cheap shot by John Bostic. And what did you point out the following day? Not one of the offensive linemen ran to his aid, right? Nobody wanted to defend him. They went to see if he was still alive, right? But nobody wanted to fight over that because that team had quit in that game. That was in the 3rd quarter, okay? Who was the one player who wasn't even out on the field who could have rushed to his defense? His name is Zach Martin. At Minnesota, he moved from right guard to right tackle. You hate pro football, folks.